Welcome in a circle. I feel like it's been a minute since I've seen you on YouTube. What's going on? I don't know if that's actually true, but that's how I feel at the second. Oops. Got distracted there. White wants to play g6, so. Oh, I'm glad you get notifications from my channel so you can tune in. That's good. Sometimes I wonder if people even use stuff like that, because I could easily imagine people not feeling like it's necessary to get notifications. Okay, so this is a funny moment, like we're dropping back here. I know white wants to play g6 and then they want to play bishop takes e6, so this is probably a reason we're not castling. But yeah, I guess that's just the whole thing. We can do this with tempo. Makes him put the rook in a silly looking spot. Improve the knight. I guess g6 right away isn't really working. He doesn't even mention it. Maybe in the next line. Nope. Okay, so this is showing why they put the rook back on d2. Because here they're running into knight e5 problems. Nothing to see here. I think we're pretty much always going to take this pawn. And it's worth it to force a queen trade here. We have d5 under control. After king e7, bishop e6, we're not going to have any trouble with them putting a piece on d5. Makes sense. And this is fixing the h-pawn weakness for the endgame. MCAT, welcome. How many courses do I have? That's a good question. I have done, I think, all of the free courses except for the ones by Ginger GM and like untitled randos. Not necessarily because I think people who don't have titles can't write good books, but I've just never really found any of them interesting enough to pick them up. And I probably have like fewer than 10 paid books. Somebody specifically recommended that or asked me to check out this book on their behalf, so I invested in that. I'll usually get a book to see if it's good for one of my students. Yeah, this is Chessable in a circle. Yeah, so I don't really use Chessable as my main thing these days. I never really did, but like I spent a lot more time on it in the beginning, I should say. When there was a lot more material for me to look at. All right, so sample lines. This is interesting. Okay, so whenever they try to avoid us playing hg5 or taking with the rook, and that's pretty obvious. Like, why would you ever take with a pawn? You can always play g6 if necessary. We don't have rook takes h4 because there's a rook on d2. We could sack the d pawn, but we don't need to. I've seen a few games actually where the king goes on e7 and it's all just like perfectly fine in this pawn structure. It's pretty funny when that happens. If the rook is on d2, we don't have knight c4 to e5. That's an important maneuver. So we don't really have this idea. I guess the implication is that the bishop will snap it off. When the rook was on d3, we could get away with that move. So we resort to exchanging the knights. Obviously, if we can't move our rook, if we have to move our rook on the king side, we're going to castle the other way. Or not at all. Also, maybe to answer a little bit more of MCAT's question, even though I have like 10 books or something, I don't really read more than like 2 at a time. So a lot of them are just archived. Like, I finished them, I don't use them anymore. Hello, Shai. Hope you're having a good time in Colorado. I've never actually like gotten to stop in Colorado. I went to the Denver airport like one time, I think, maybe more than once, but never really got to go out and like climb something or eat some food or anything like that. I hear it's really nice, so I hope you have a great time. All right, now we're attempting to get bishop b5 in. Because they can't take it. It was mate on c2. I imagine it's fine to play bishop b5 straight up, but if you can play rook c8 first and make it stronger, no reason not to. I wouldn't be too happy if I didn't see this ahead of time to simplify the position this much. Interesting. He says that we should take with the pawn. He says it's a very rare instance where recapturing with the pawn is more precise. The reason is that if we take with the rook after h5, it will be hard to push g6. Well, that makes sense since we've already traded rooks in a very unlikely way. In the other lines where I was saying, of course, we're going to take with the rook, it's because we can bring the other rook to h8 and pressure the h5 pawn. But since we only have one rook, this does make more sense. But this doesn't seem like a great line to be recommended. It's just equal, but equal's fine. We're kind of doing it to ourselves here. Sort of a dangerous idea for white in the sense that it's much more intuitive to take with the rook. But I also doubt that black would play knight c3 if they didn't understand that detail. Oh, Shy's at a bar where he can't hear. That sounds terrible for you. So they're probably going to have to accept that they're exchanging pawns here. Like, they want to take the H pawn for free, but we're pressuring E4. And if they play bishop F3, we have queen E3. So they don't have any way to protect the pawn and take the H pawn. Little tactical detail. Just don't get checkmated. It's always good not to get checkmated. So another equal position. The queen c7 thing is to try to get them to take on e5. Apparently this is a messy line. I mean, it looks like it. So we're threatening to exchange queens with b6. Something that you'd probably need to have checked out ahead of time. It looks pretty complicated to just go for it. Because I wouldn't want to accept doubled pawns if I could help it. Yay, I finished the chapter. Ooh, yeah. Alright, next chapter. Usually the first few examples are more interesting at the beginning of a chapter. Like, a lot of the later lines, it seems like it's traditional to kind of just justify your justify yourself more in the later variations. But the first ones usually illustrate some overarching key concepts in this book and books by other authors. I haven't read that many openings books though, so maybe some of them are different, but a lot of the time it does seem like they're kind of defending their choice. Thank you for following. Legendarische Levy. Sounds like we got a Levy fan here. Alright, so we're doing this. Here's an interesting note. So when you play bishop takes f6, they get to respond in one of three ways. G takes f6 is very old school, like Fischer era. It's not really oh, that'd be funny if you were Levy. Yeah, so in the Fischer era, like, this was a very common way to play with the messed up pawn structure, but I think it's been shown that f5 is a good option against it. So people don't really play that now, so it's really between these two minor pieces. Taking with the knight is much more common, so a good question is, like, why not take with the bishop? And he gives this line where it's bishop takes g5 and bishop takes d4, which is actually pretty nice for black because it actually becomes similar to the lines we were just looking at. They take with the rook, we play queen c5 at some point, and so on. But they have this alternative, which is on this move, not to play g5, but to play bishop takes b5, which is apparently an unsolvable problem. So this is why knight takes. Interesting detail. Oh, you also are Levy. I got it. So Levy likes Levy. Hopefully Levy likes Levy back too. Legendarische Levy. I bet you're more legendary than the actual, not the actual, but the other chess Levy. Does anybody ever call you Levi? I wonder if people ever get that wrong. Like, what's up, Levi? I feel like that'd be super irritating. It's like if people called me Robe. Like, what's up, Robe? Coach Robert. Couch Robert. Alright, so apparently all the ideas here are connected with pushing b4 at some point, which is pretty obvious. One thing you can do is play it right away, but he's recommending castling. You could also prepare it with queen b6, rook fc8, but this is good. I would prefer sooner than later, generally. So I think I like this move order. Rook h3 is kind of funny. So we're clarifying what the d knight's going to do before we play a3. Black has the initiative. This is good. Assuming you want to play black here, of course. Hello, Eatermaster. And Teal, your name looks like it was compiled in LaTeX. My rating, I don't know what my rating is right now. I'm a candidate master. This is a Sicilian, yes. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, probably playing b5. And then this one. And then these one? No. I don't think I castled first. I'm tempted to just do this. Oh yeah, bishop b7 is what he wanted. And then we do this. Then we castle and then we play b4. And then we do this and this. And then we... Let me see. Do this. e5. Here. Yeah. Zoned out a little bit there for a second. Missed bishop b7. Just attention span things. Oops, b4 first. And then this. Yeah, how to draw on the Najdorf Sicilian. I mean, pretty much all opening prep ends with zeros anyway these days. It's just like, how do you want to reach that equal, already studied position? Which is actually pretty, like, boring, but I think since things tend to go wrong along the way often enough, it's you know, it's pretty fun anyway, despite all the opening prep. Now, I'm not even going to be playing Giri's recommendations. I just want to read the book and see what he's thinking. I'm probably going to be making my own decisions about what lines I want. In all fairness, I have looked at a lot of these things already, so some things are going to overlap for sure. Normal stuff here. You said black can even think about castling here, apparently, on the queen side. He's just calling h4 super slow. Welcome 999 Samus. And Levy has a question. Do I have tips for people with an ELO around 800? Yeah, I definitely do. Where do I even begin? You know, like, there's a lot of stuff that you could be doing if your rating is around 800. But first of all, have you been playing chess for a long time, or are you just getting started? That would probably change what kind of advice is most useful for you. Okay, so f5 is the point of white's system. If they waste a move and don't play f5, then black is a comfortable game. This position, I've seen one very similar to it. I've probably looked at this exact position too, but there's one that resonates more with my memory, where they play f5 before black is castled, and bishop takes g5 comes with check as well, and then there's, oh no, this is that position, it's just castling's already played. That was my bad. Okay, so his recommendation is not to take on g5. Says that also knight c5 was a huge theoretical move, and it became unplayable because of knight d5 sacrifices. That's good to know. I know I've had a position similar to this recently where they had a bishop on b3, and I had like more or less the same structure, and knight d5 was what white was able to do. So that's kind of interesting to me. Alright, so 13 is castling instead. There's going for mate. We take the piece. And this is the saving grace here. It says this is played by Baby Fallujah in 2015. Never underestimate Baby Fallujah. All right. Okay, so Levy started playing last year, but hasn't played consistently. Yeah. I feel like that's a common situation where it's like chess is just interesting at this point. There's no reason to work on it every day necessarily. Well, if you don't really want to increase the amount of chess that you're playing, you just want to be somewhat organized, I would recommend adding solving problems to your chess playing. Like, try to do about as much studying as playing. In the beginning, playing a lot is good, but you can also benefit from some systematic reading. Maybe like you could go through the free chess books on Chessable, for example. There's a large number of free books. Some of them are garbage. I would recommend reading the ones that are not about openings first. Like just tactics books, just go through them and read their commentary, stuff like that. If you're already doing that, then something else you could do is start writing notes to your games. I have a video on YouTube with my recommendations for how you can annotate your own games. I think that's really valuable because it requires you to be introspective about how you play chess. I know when I started learning how to play chess, I took extensive notes, came up with my own theory of how to play, and that helped me to make progress quickly. Alright, so apparently this is memorization time, according to Giri. Rook e8 and f takes e6 is apparently lost, which makes sense. The rook is hanging. Cannot take back. Looks bad. So, more giving of the piece back. It's always nice to give the piece back. That's what Tarash said. And I don't think anybody can really get rid of this knight on f6. It's going to keep h7 safe. That looks pretty good. Don't let them do anything active, so we play e5. And the e-pawn should be a target for some time. Finish development, of course, what else? It's funny that Levy brings up arrogance in chess. I was just talking about that in my server with several people. We were just talking about how chess can force you to examine your ego and different things like that too. We were talking about meditation as well. How some people get into this thought process where they're like, I meditate, therefore I'm a better person, which is like falsifiable, kind of stupid. Yeah, so I would lean into that if you find that interesting. And for me, I think chess is a good workhorse for self-improvement. Keeps me active. Okay, so Samus has a question. He says he's about 400, 450. He does 10 puzzles. Found the Building Habits series by Chessbra and play every day until he loses 2 games. Okay, I'm not familiar with the Building Habits series. In fact, I'm not familiar with really anything by Chessbra. I wasn't aware they ever gave any like serious advice. So he says he ends up playing 3 or 4 games every day. Should he play more? Well, I think more is generally better as long as when you add more games or more studying, you're not burning out. Like, just whatever is your comfortable maximum, you should do something close to that. If you're comfortable playing 3 or 4 games every day and you feel like you have a lot to learn from those 3 or 4 games, then that's good. But if you're done, you're like, man, I could really play some more chess. I have the same level of energy as when I played my first game. I'm just getting warmed up. Then you could, of course, play more. But I would try to balance the studying with the playing. Okay, so Levy's asking, where can I find the free books? So if you go on Chessable, right, I'll send a direct link in the chat real quick. Open another tab. Alright, so this is our Chessable homepage. It looks ugly because I edited it just for looking at the game. You go to courses, all courses. I'm going to send the link in a minute. And then when you scroll down, you can probably see there's this button that says free in the middle on the left. It's by price. So you click that, and then that brings you to a page that has every single free book. I don't use light mode. It just switches it back on me constantly, and I'm not sure why. I think it's probably because I don't save cookies. Dark mode is better. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to have light mode on. You guys might have seen I posted a short clip about light mode in ChessBase because ChessBase doesn't have a dark mode at all. So let me try to make this look better because then I can give you some specific recommendations. Just give me 1 second with OBS. I need to manhandle it and show who's boss and stuff like that. Maybe this scene. Nope. That is not it. 1 sec. I'm gonna do something extra. I need to do a window capture. Nope. Shoot. Okay. 1 second of editing of this gangly window. I think the whole website is probably formatted to be like this size. So that's probably not so bad. Okay, so here's our Chessable deal, right? This is all the free books, and it's a long list. You can see I've done almost all of them if I just like quickly scroll through. You know, like everything that says archived, I've looked at it enough to either decide I like it and I'm gonna finish it, or I think it's stupid and I'm not gonna look at it ever again. Unimaster, I saw your comment. I'll come back to that in 1 second. I just want to address which books to look at. So some of these are about openings, right? Like it'll say short and sweet, some opening name. I generally don't recommend reading those if you're just starting out because you still have to learn the very basic opening lines, like the Italian main lines that people played like 200 years ago, that kind of thing. A lot of these opening books, they're about like new ideas, and it's sort of supposing that you've already tried the basics. So just keep learning classical games. Like you could look at the games with Paul Morphy, anyone from like the 1800s, the world champions like Steinitz, great examples for your openings when you're like 400 or 800. But the things that I want you to pay attention to are books like Endgame Boot Camp right here. This is a good series about endgames, something that applies no matter what opening you play. Or Winning Chess Strategies, free lesson by Yasser Seirawan. You know, he's a good author. You can check out all of his winning chess tactics and combinations books. I actually skipped this one just for lack of time, but I'd recommend that one too. The Magnus Carlsen free strategy lesson. Basically, if it's something by a reputable author, which is hard to figure out, like you'll figure it out as you go, who is writing about something that will help you no matter what opening you play, and you know, that's the kind of thing you're looking for here. There's also some with problem sets. Some of the problem sets are low quality, like the Olympiad book. It's pretty poor quality, but you might look at the here's the Winning Chess Endings by Seirawan that I missed apparently. Judith Polgar's free lesson, you could check that out. I'm looking for one that's called like Pieces on the Attack. So it's called like Knight on the Attack, Queen on the Attack. I don't see them right here because there's just so many opening books. The site is mostly focused on openings, but they're out there. Like, just look for tactics books too. You can filter by motif here on the left as well. You could go to game aspect, click tactics, and then just look for the ones that are free. Woodpecker Method is a book that's pretty good, although the Woodpecker Method is ridiculous. It has good examples, but you have to pay for it, so you keep scrolling and look for something like 1001 Chess Exercises. You know, just look for that kind of stuff. Forcing Chess Moves is good, although you have to pay for it. Start with the free stuff. This is probably the big takeaway here. Karo Ken, welcome. Raj, welcome. I do private tutoring. If you guys want to get in touch about that to see if it's right for you. I don't do it for everyone, but if it's something that is beneficial for you, you know, we both think it's good, then we can always talk about that. If you want, you guys can join my Discord so that we can talk further. If you guys join that, I'll give you talk privileges after the stream. You can always direct message me before then. Eater Master is questioning my choice for Winning Chess Strategies. Yeah, those books are a little bit hard. You're right. But I still think it's useful for starting players to knock their head against some of these harder things, because it at least shows them what's out there and it can stimulate your thought early on, even if it's not something that you're going to like solve completely right away. Especially if you have to get something that's free. If you want something that's targeted specifically for your level, you're probably going to need to get a coach or search a little bit harder. But you know, these are the good free resources on Chessable. That's the main takeaway. Yeah, no problem, Levy. And as for your question about what do I mean about taking notes when I started playing, so I came up with some theories about how chess works when I was a beginner. I would analyze my games and try to figure out what are the basic moving parts of how my game went. So it's like, why did this thing work for me? Why did this thing work for my opponent? And I used to write lists of ideas, and I would just test the ideas. And it's not necessarily the same as annotating my games, although I had specific games and specific positions in mind with my theories. I thought that was really good for my chess development, and it was a fun thing to do when I was first starting out. For one, like, some of the things that I thought about, they're kind of basic now, but when you're like 400, you might not think about how two bishops can never protect each other, and how that can make certain positions have tactics appearing, or maybe thinking about how one group of pieces is inherently short-ranged and that gives them different powers. You know, those kinds of things I thought about pretty deeply when I was first starting out. Okay, maybe I'll take a look at this again. But if you guys have more questions, feel free to ask me more questions. All right, so we're just clapping back with G6 here. Yeah, I kind of figured this checkmate threat would come in somewhere. It was in the last variation as well. Oh, that's the end of the line. Okay, we just threaten mate, and they have to deal with it. This is not immediately bishop g7. This is probably more important to look at. Like, we don't do this immediately because of this knight e7 and queen takes h7 with tempo. Yeah, a corridor mate type thing. Not good. We play bishop h6, rook h6, king g7, and f6. Fancy checkmate. Knight takes, pawn takes. Good game. Interesting. Okay, apparently they have a perpetual here. We don't allow queen h6 anytime. Okay, we do this one, and some of these, and some of these, and they take the draw because they're scared. We go here. Raj, if you want to get in touch for coaching, you can either jump into the Discord and then message me. I'll give you guys talk privileges right now while we're talking about it. Everyone's welcome to join. And also, you could email me. My email is chessplayersmakebetter@gmail. That's on my YouTube channel. You can always email me there if Discord doesn't work for you. And we can talk about what it would take for you to jump to 1200. I think that's totally achievable. I think how long it takes or how many sessions it takes is different for everyone, but it shouldn't be like too much. Oh, where's Neil? Oh, hello, Neil Campbell. I hope I pronounced the W in your name correctly. Yeah, welcome. We were just, chatting about how we can improve with free resources and coaching, and also looking at this book on Chessable. Neil, do you use Chessable? I hope Neil's still here. I know it's a little slow to respond there. Alright, so f6 is annoying, but we just take it. This is one of those variations, I think, where you just cover your eyes. If your opponent is throwing these things at you and you only have one move to play, you just keep playing that one move and see what happens. Shira apparently was able to win a rook against Hushenbeth after king h8. That's funny. So this is a move to play. No need to be scared. And then we just need to move the bishop to d6 or d8 to protect f7. They're going to sack a rook either way. And we're going to take their rook. This hasn't been played. At least not when this book was written. White has to force a draw here. Sneaky draw. The draw there will be with queen h6 and queen g6. Alright, we were doing this one. And we're just taking everything here. Knight c6 is bullying, so we finish our development. We're in check, so we move the king. They take our stuff. They're threatening knight f7, I believe. Winning the queen, so we have to protect our queen. They take that, we take theirs. They're still threatening knight f7. So I think we have to play knight to, well no, not knight d5. I think maybe rook g8. No, it's all ridiculous. Hold on. What's the move here? I think we have to add this move. Yeah, that's right. And I think this is the improvement over the game that had already been played. We throw this in, and this. And now they have to force a draw, not us. That was a bit of a hairy forced draw there. Okay, we do this. And the move here was this. And here they are threatening to win the game with queen takes f6, so we're gaining control of that with tempo. And they're just forcing the draw. Got it. Yeah, definitely a don't panic position. H4 was slow a move ago, but I think it's a serious option here. I've definitely seen this position before. Where were we? B4. Yeah, I got those moves all switched up. We don't care about them taking on E6 because I guess we have 95. We're playing E5 in anticipation of F6, then we get to take the knight. And we have pressure on E4, and E7's falling anyway. Woof, welcome. Have I improved at chess in 2022? Yeah, I think I improve at chess at a pretty constant rate. How about you, Woof? I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute. Hope your chess is coming along too. Although I know you have other things to work on. In the circle, good luck with your book. Woof, I saw someone from the chess club the other day, and they told me that everyone from LSU Chess thinks that I moved to New York. I don't know if you've been attending their club meetings, but I don't know what they're saying to explain me not being there. But I thought that was kind of funny. I should share that with you. Apparently, I'm in New York, and that's why I don't go to the chess club. Oh, knight c5 is what Giri wants us to play in this. I was thinking knight e5. But this makes sense too. Cha-ching. And if they take on f7, we just get our rook very active and stuff. It's worth. Okay, now here we're taking on f5 even though they can play knight takes f5. So we're probably gonna play, I was gonna guess knight e5, but rook f e8. We're threatening bishop f8, so they probably have to take this bishop right now. And if they really have to take that bishop, it's kind of like we don't have to worry about that knight if it's going to annihilate itself just for the bishop. That's funny. I wonder if that person was like messing with me or something. Good meme, thinking I just moved to New York. Okay, now this is hitting the queen. The knight looks a little bit silly, but it can always go back to d5. Black is the bishop pair. Probably black's better. Oh, well, if you're doing C and Linux stuff, that's good. I've been doing a good bit of that myself. Probably I will be doing even more later this semester. What kind of projects do you have in C/Linux? I know those are not the same kind of things, but you know, what are you working on with that? So kicking the knight away from d5. They usually want to do some kind of d5 sack stuff, or get rid of the e-pawn to play knight d5, so timing makes sense against rook g1. This is funny, setting up a blockade. I've never done this. I would always be a little bit suspicious. But probably after like rook d8 and knight f8, we can't really get checkmated on h7. Like, also, I guess they'd have a hard time bringing a piece to h6 to sacrifice. Like, they could try like this. The idea would be to like take twice, like get the queen on h6, threaten queen h7 mate, and make it very awkward. But I think we should be able to deal with that. Like, that's a very long and intricate plan, and we can do it in just 2 moves. Should be fine. Okay, I kind of like this little idea. Oops, I glitched there for a second. I've thought about converting my old computer to a server as well once in a while, but I never really needed to. Okay. So this looks just like the other line. This leads to a forced variation going to an endgame, according to Giri. Allegedly, there's some connection between this rook and the pawn on g7. I guess we'll see at the end of a forced line. Alright, well now it makes some sense. If they're going to throw every pawn at us, we need to clear the way. And now the rook is guarding g7. Probably king f7 here. Oh no, rook f8. The passed e-pawn is giving some good play. Don't lose the rook. Don't lose the knight. Don't lose the game. Move your knight because that's good. Take the free pawn. Leave the decision up to them. And rook f8. We do these and these. We just don't want to give up the initiative at any point. I've played positions like this against the engine before, just for training purposes, and it can be very, very hard to win, even if you have a position that's like much better than this, where you have 2 passed pawns, but with this kind of material imbalance. Yeah, I don't know how much you really need to do with C, Wolf, but I am using C++ sometimes for parallelized code to make numerical models of the ocean and atmosphere. So if your stuff is at all similar to that, I could always talk about that with you if you want. Also, are they C or C++? C++, right? Because I don't think anybody uses C really anymore. This is an easy enough variation, just like develop all your pieces. Attack. Oh, just C? Okay. That's interesting. I use C++. But not as much as like interpreter languages like Python or MATLAB. And now I'm doing R for the first time this semester too. They want to take the d pawn anyway, so we're trolling. I forget what we were supposed to do with this. Oh yeah, bishop h5. Makes sense. Chessable needs to get more, like, intelligent notifications. They were asking me, did I study today? I'm, like, literally on Chessable right now. Oh yeah, I'm giving up this pawn. And trolling. That was the move I missed before. Looks like Political drew against the National Master in a classical tournament. Well done to him. He hasn't dropped it on the stream yet. Nice message to him, let him know. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so it looks risky. Yes, that's right, Anish Giri. It does look risky. One of the nice things about this book is it gives a lot of alternative moves, so if you want to prepare something a little bit spicy and different, you can. But I've been skipping all the alternatives. I want to see what his main lines are first, just to keep it manageable. I don't need like 5 lines against one thing. I just want to get an idea of like, what kind of book is this? What's he all about? What's the big idea? I'm trying to remember what it was here. Just no knight f7. Risking it for the biscuit. Disturbing the piece. Bullying the knight. We take back the piece. Move the king. Don't lose. Don't lose some more. Don't lose. Yeah, there we go. That's the line. Wolf is asking if I don't have any homework. I mean, yeah, I do have homework. Why? I have all kinds of stuff, like 2 jobs, homework, chess. A lot going on. It's a busy time of the year. I probably have to move to a new apartment, so I've been apartment searching as well. Let's skip these alternatives. Okay. I think we did this. Oh no, it's queen c5 this time. I'm kind of zoning out a little bit. Okay, so we're just preventing this knight from going to f5. Got it. I try to get my stuff out of the way as soon as I can. Like, usually as soon as it's assigned, although I haven't been doing that recently. been doing it like right before it's due sometimes. Not that I'm like rushing it, it's just like that's usually when I have time. But I think chess is important, so I'm not going to sacrifice it just because I have some homework to do. It's a fine balance for sure. I think it was this. Knight d7. So far so good, although I think I should switch and do other stuff just because I've been getting like zoning out a little bit. Maybe I'll finish up the chapter. There's only 6 more examples and then I'll do some tactics. Okay. We don't allow that knight to stay there. Definitely not. Attack. Apparently a balanced endgame is coming. I can dig it. Get rid of the pawn, get rid of the knight. Start pushing for the attack. Oh no, we have to threaten c2 first. Get a tempo. Always tempo. Throw in this little tempo. Double the rooks. No big deal. Don't worry, be happy. Now here I forgot to get that tempo. Oh, right. Yeah, I'm looping a little bit here. Been doing this for too long. I usually will do like a couple variations in a day. Like I really won't do a marathon like this that often, but I felt like doing it today. Alright, skip this alternative. Skip, skip, skip. It might be tactics time. Skip, skip, and overview. I'll just quickly click through this. H5 stuff. Alright, so this is the beginning of the... Yeah, these are the things that were covered. Okay. So the next thing... Yeah, this is just the overview for what's coming next. Okay. So I'm going to close out of the Chessable, do some puzzles, if I have some energy for it. Let's see. That's ugly. This is how it should look. Okay, so this is funny. It's right out of the opening. Imagine playing the English Gambit. Just kidding. I think here you can't even win the pawn back. Like, white should just play e4 here. Okay, but this is a 3+0 game between 1800 and 1900 players. So we're gonna see some solid memes, I guess. Alright, what gives? We could like take this, we could play this, different things. So I'm just going to calculate the first thing I see. So let's say knight f3. I'm just going to calculate that. We're not even down like a lot of material. Just 2 pawns. So we could make some bold moves here. If I had another rook on c8, I see some kind of checkmate ideas. Like take the bishop, knight f3, king d1, rook d2. That would be cool. Queen c7 is something that they might want to do. Knight f3, knight e4 is on my mind. I'm looking at it. Something like check and knight e4, but then if they take the knight, I play knight takes f2 and king c2. That might actually work because then there's rook c8. That's probably where this is going. Knight f3, king d1, knight e4. So what could really go wrong here? I think taking it is pretty major. Taking the knight on f3. This is probably the answer. I'm gonna go for it. This also prevents knight g4. I mean queen g4. Okay, I think this is all right. Now here I was thinking rook c8. This is probably the crux of the position. I sacked a knight. I'm already down 2 pawns. If I take this rook, I think my knight is going to be stuck, like, forever. Bishop g2 is coming up. Possibly. Rook c8. And then they still have to rescue the rook. This could be good. I think I would rather play rook c8 here than win the rook. Okay, that was it. Good. I might do a couple more, but I'm honestly feeling kind of wiped. So I might just do a couple. So there's knight e7 type stuff going on here, potentially. Our queen's hanging, so queen h5 is a normal move to consider. There's also rook h8. This is probably more direct, so let's look at that first. Maybe throw this move in. Queen h7 is mate, right? Queen g5 also looks pretty good. Rook h7 is probably gonna win soon, although probably not as well as the others. The issue is that there's queen g2. So if I'm worried about queen g2, I guess I should focus on that. Like, Schnaggenspiel, welcome. I don't know if I want to play a game right this second, but we should play sometime. Maybe I'll come down to the club and play you sometime. Actually, do you ever go to the Highland Coffee? There's some people who play there. If you want to meet there on a Saturday sometime before I am like gone for good, we could get together. So the Highland Coffee place, it's by Chimes. You've probably been there. It's on the same street, just like it's the next block over on Highland, and people will meet there on Saturday mornings to play chess. People who don't go to LSU, actually. So what else is more forcing? Because like this check, this just runs into Queen G2, so probably every move has to be check. I don't think knight e7 makes sense, so like check, they go here, check. I don't see why giving up the rook would be good, so check, 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 check. Here they have bishop h6, that's kind of annoying. But there are more checks. No, it doesn't work. I was thinking like check, check, check. They take it, I check, they block, and then like knight f8, but they can just take that. There's really nothing going on as far as I can see. Maybe it's like check, and they take it, and then something magical occurs. Check, they take, check. Now this looks promising. Yeah, there's mate here. Okay, so maybe this is forced. Let's see. Check, they go here. Check, they take the knight. Do they have any other move? No, they have to take the knight. We check. If they play king g7, I can take the queen, then I'm not getting checkmated anymore. That's nice. Alright, I think there's enough here that's the first move for sure. I think it's knight h5 here. Oh, Wolf, do you live far from campus? For me, it's walkable, and I walk to work on campus and everything too. I think. Okay, still good. But here there might be something else. I'm pretty convinced it's knight f4 because they take and I check. But they also have king g7. I don't really want to see them walk away and survive. I guess we have queen h5 check, king on the g file, queen takes g5. Okay, so we're not doing that badly. No, that was not it. Curses. How could it not be? That was awful. There's no way it's like queen h1. That's just ridiculous. We go here? No. It's stupid. I don't like this. Do I have to throw in an extra check here somewhere? Like, what is even going on with this puzzle? Maybe this? No, all that is just stupid and makes no sense. Oh, my queen is hanging. I forgot that. So this does actually make sense. I want to not lose my queen. That would be great. Alright, that was actually really dumb for me to forget that my queen was hanging. That was like the first thing that I said. It was a good idea though to like come up with this whole sequence. It's disappointing to mess it up. And I still don't really see the move. Like I tried this, I tried this. I was thinking maybe like throw this check and then take the queen. But this allows queen g2. Well, the knight's guarding g2 right now. Yeah, I think I'm too tired to be doing this. I'm making ridiculous mistakes. I thought this, but then they trade queens and win. This prevents queen g2, but like, I don't know, I'm disappointed. I don't want to look at this anymore. Disgusted. I looked at this, but they can take with the bishop. Doesn't change anything. Alright, like, queen moves here. Just random queen moves. Okay. I just don't want to look at this anymore. Irritating. Okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Because I had this so close. It didn't work. Anyway, like 2 hours straight is probably fine for now. I'll do more later today. Yeah. I'm glad that entertains you, Schnagenspiel. It's obnoxious. Alrighty, well, I'm done for now, and I'll resume again later, but I think I'm going to do it off stream. So, probably I'll see you guys tomorrow, if you guys are on, and until then, good luck with your chess. I'll catch you guys later. I may be a scholar, but I'm not a saint. Alright, take care everyone.